Hey everybody, this is Scott from Laurent Hypnotherapy, and thanks again for being part of this challenge. So we're on to day 4 of the Time Management Super Tips Challenge, and today it's about coding your mind map. And so code was actually like how you break your day up into blocks. So let's take a closer look at this. So the first part, so just zooming in this goal, in this plan for today, is just to talk about waste. And so the things that actually get in the way and cost people more energy, the transitions like either into extroverted work or into introverted work or into kind of more decision making or into more kind of like smaller detail kind of admin stuff, there's an energy cost moving the brain from one thought style to another, whether you're like being creative and coming up with this content or if you're like seeing a client having to be responsive. They're different energies. And you don't want to waste your transitions. So you want to have at least 4-hour blocks so that you can literally just make the most of your actual time. So waste equals anything you would do in a normal day, which includes distractions, or it could be, the good things, the bad things, and everything. It could be surfing YouTube too much, doing things you said that you wouldn't, whether it's like snacking, calling the wrong people that are not part of your plan, or whether it's like YouTubing or whatever it is. And then take from that the positives, which is the steps that work, and then what's left is fluff, and then adding mixed code to it. And so what that does is it basically kind of like destroys a person's schedule. So instead what we want people to do is to follow this other plan. So we'll show you what it is. Code again, so content, organization, decisions, extrovert, and then done. This is the color coding that we put into the diary, and you only get, so done is like once one of those other 4 are done, you then turn that thing green in the diary, or you do use a green pen or something, or give it a tick. But you only get 2 blocks per day, 4-hour blocks. So you can't use all of code in a day. So you can't be creating content while doing an 8-hour day, while making big decisions, while doing all the admin stuff. But when you get it right into the 4-hour blocks, it really does help you to create the $100,000. And so I've got some of this out of order. I'm just going to skip ahead slightly. We'll get into this because it's really cool. I'm really excited about that part. But the 45-day goal, you get 1 goal per 45 days, and you get 8 of these per year. They might be all different. They might be all the same. They might be a mix. But just getting into it, so each 45 days, it's either about growing your one-on-one, producing a seminar, or an online course. And so just to zoom out a little bit, just to show what this is about, these are all the different jobs that you might need to do. So there's traffic, getting people into your business, trust, which is like one of those pillars as well, like getting people who have been following you to know, like, and trust you, ebooks that you put out to help educate as well, which can be also part of trust, payment structures, making the actual sales, and building the products or delivering the service. So all of those things need to happen, but I'll zoom out a little bit more. Can you see that like on the tails of each of these arms, I've got the letters of code there all the way around, but they're not evenly distributed, as in like that each branch isn't just a C or an O or a D or an E. They're kind of like all different. And so that what I want you to do is, like, once you've got your central plan in the middle and you've said what you want to do over the next 45 days, and then you've said like what you want to do, it could be like with an ebook, then I want you to come up with all of the parts or all of the tasks within that, and then code it as to like, well, is it a creative thing? Is it an organization thing? Is it a decision? Or is it an extroverted thing? So the C here stands for creative. So if you're coming up with the cover of an ebook, that's a creative thing. And so you want to group together all of your creative things. I don't mean use 4 hours to come up with an ebook cover. I mean that all of the things, so I'll just zoom back out again. I mean that all of the C's, get all of the C's together, get all of the O's together, all of the D's and all of the E's together, and group them together so that you're doing all of your creative stuff in the same 4-hour block or in 2 lots of 4-hour blocks. But don't, within the same 4 hours, do all 4, if that makes sense. So keeping to just one style of work per 4 hours, you can do as many creative tasks as you like. You can do as many organizational tasks as you like. You can make as many decisions as you like, or do as much extroverted stuff as you like within that 4-hour block. But keeping each 4-hour block to only one of those letters. So just showing you like roughly like what a plan could be. Let's say like if you're going to do any of these things or even an online course, you might produce an ebook which helps to build trust. You need to come up with a cover, which is a creative thing, an outline, which is creative, a headline for the ebook, which is creative, writing the thing, which is creative, editing it, which is creative, researching for it, which is creative, and then the visual layouts. And so all of those things are creative, and they can all be done within the same 4-hour block, or all of those styles of work can be done within the same 4-hour block. But then there's like another thing, like pre-trust videos. You've got, let's say, like writing what we call the indoctrination script, as in like, what's your first video to indoctrinate the audience? That's creative. Coming up with your Mythbuster script, so the second video you put out, that's a creative thing because it's a script. Again, another creative thing, coming up with a case study script. But then we change a little bit here, like when we go to E for film the indoctrination. You've got your script, but now it's time to get extroverted. You don't want to be writing and filming your script in the same 4 hours, because it just doesn't make any sense, because energetically it's a very different headspace to go, all right, now I have to like answer these questions. Oh, by the way, my brother's come up with like the best online programs and script generation software, where for every letter in indoctrination and Mythbuster and case study and sales offer, it asks you the questions that you can just type out yourself, and once you've answered all the questions, it emails you with a finished script that you then just need to like edit for language and syntax, and then you can go straight on to like filming. And so again, like whether it's the Mythbuster, that's an extroverted thing, it's energetic and responsive. You've got to have like the same as me doing this video, I'm not coming up with the framework at the same time as filming it or recording it. And then the case study. And then there's things like bringing traffic into your business. It's a very different headspace from filming videos. So you might build a Facebook group. Coming up with a banner is creative. Creating the group is just a very quick organizational steps where you just have to read. It's not really being creative, it's just like clicking the buttons. Doing Facebook Lives is an extroverted thing where you need to be energetic, groomed, and ready to go. AdWords is more of an organizational thing that once you've created it the first time, it's really just checking on it. Oh, sorry, back to AdWords. Again, because this is about bringing traffic in. AdWords is how Google takes money from you to bring people to your page, if that's something that you're doing as one of your plans and methods. Blogging is another way to bring people to you, but this is a creative. Then there's products that you can create, which is either to do with your one-on-one or your online course or your seminars. It's actually delivering the service or creating the service. So coming up with content is not the same as seeing the client. Coming up with the content is coming up with a framework that you're going to take them through. That's creative. Coming up with the examples or stories that you're going to tell them. That's creative. Coming up with the activities that you're going to get them to either do in a classroom or when you, like with this is an online course, getting people to do homework, that their activities, that's a creative thing. And then the tools that you'll have, basically playing with the online platform, that's an organizational thing where you've already created the video, now you're just uploading it. Creating CDs, DVDs, or manuals, like manuals potentially for a live workshop or a seminar, that's an organizational thing. Once they've been created, it's basically getting them ready. That's organizational. The medium, which is like the method in which you deliver. So it could be the one-on-one, which is decisions, because you actually decide that that's what you're doing, and then it becomes an extroverted thing. The same as a seminar, like where you might decide that if your central goal is a seminar, you have to decide upon it and then do it as an extrovert once you're actually doing the events. Or the online course, which is the same. You decide whether that's what you want to do in the 45 days. And the extrovert stuff is actually creating the online course. Another part is sales to bring the money in. Part of that is the sales offer video, again an acronym for that we go into in another course. This particular course is about time and how you're spending the time, and in regards to the code, as in with the sales offer, coming up with the script is creative, filming it is an extrovert. Booking people in quickly is just an organization thing. It's like just before I booked in another smoker for 400. And then long sales calls, like when you're doing a style of sales where like you call them once, and then you call them again, that goes for an hour. The first call is to deliver value, the second call is to deliver some value, and then to sell, bring them into your maybe $5,000 or $10,000 program. Email campaigns is creative. We use the PASPA formula for that. We're writing an email campaign. Not only do we have the headlines that we have to work out, but PASPA, which stands for the problem, Aggravate the problem, so talk about how the problem they can face is bad. S for solve, tell them how I would fix it. PAS. P for prove, show how I've done it. And then A for action or call to action, tell them to click or buy something. So that's what the PASPA stands for in email campaigns. And then for payments, whether you've got EFTPOS or something, set up payment buttons, which could be like on PayPal, or whether you're setting up your just an organizational thing, or if you're seeing the bank to make sure that you've got an EFTPOS machine. Paying bills or loans, whether it's like you're borrowing money for business or whether you're actually lending it to others through another broker or provider. Because sometimes if your program is 20k, sometimes your customer actually takes out a loan to buy your program, which is quite common. Invoicing, bookkeeping, it's all organization stuff, so you keep it to the O in that time block. Tracking payments, it's organizational stuff. Setting up PayPal in the first place, O. Price is a decision, so that's why you generally do it in a different block. Typing in the price is part of the organization, but when you actually decide like what you're doing, like is it in the next 45 days, are you doing online course, seminar, or one-on-one, price becomes it becomes like a decision. You actually do it strategically. And so that's the whole thing of code. So once you've taken all of the jobs that you're going to do and you've put them onto that mind map, then you can put the letters of code next to it to find out which block they belong to. And then what you can do is just grab all of the C's together, all of the O's, all of the D's, all of the E's, and then start blocking them into your calendar. And that's how you make best use of your time. That's how you eliminate waste. And so again, like when we say waste equals a normal day minus the steps that work, and then with a muddled code. This is kind of like how we're describing kind of like with those 4 values and how code fits into everything, is that like with the C, O, the D, the E, there's creative and there's structured, and there's a real time cost in getting yourself into a creative headspace when you're in flow, or a structured headspace when you're basically in that mindset of willing to follow instructions. They're different energies, and it takes you like a good little while to move from one spectrum to the other, and that's why like we put these things in these categories. The same as like working together with others versus working alone, it takes a little while to get into those headspaces. And so just to kind of go into them one by one, flow, I'll zoom out a little bit more. To be an extrovert, it's creative together, if that makes sense. If you're doing things like filming, you've got your script and you're filming, or you're seeing a client, you need to be in a headspace where you like people and you're getting on with the people. Another headspace is where, again, it's creative, but it's alone. It's like, it needs to be like a 4-hour block where your head can really get into the meaty stuff of just like flowing and letting yourself be not interrupted, have these boundaries up so that people know not to disturb you when you're in your creative alone time. And then the decisions that you make it together with your coach or with someone else. It's structured together, it's alignment, it's decisions. What is my 45-day goal? Is it one-on-one? Is it seminars? Is it an online course? What will I be charging? How will I break up the payment plans? How will I be delivering it? Big decision stuff. That needs to be its own segment, own block. Another 4-hour block again then is alone structured. So this is to do with, like, say, paying bills, checking on just your stats and things, accounting, bookkeeping, and just basically just like keeping up to date with the stuff that's quite frankly probably a little bit boring, and quick sales calls, as in booking people in, that only takes 30 seconds. So hopefully that makes sense as like that why. I'm going to zoom back out again. You need your energy. You need at least 4 hours to exist in each of these 4 quadrants. That's why you don't want to be in every single one of these 4 quadrants all day, and you don't want to keep mixing these quadrants up all day, because like say if giving away the homework steps in advance, but that's okay. Mixed code versus like a solved cube. When you give yourself at least 4 hours to be in each block, you look like this. When you keep moving from code to code to code to code, it looks like that. So the homework: separate your plan into code and schedule your code into 4-hour blocks. Start with basically with a mind map. I'll zoom into this again. I love this program. It's called Prezi. It's so good. Write down, like, what do you want to do in the next 45 days? What will it take to get there? Or talk to me in the Facebook group, and I'll help you with finding out like what all of these branches are and what to do. I'll help you with a plan. Write down the COD and E next to them, and then make sure that when you spend your time, because you're separating them into code, break it down into 4-hour blocks. Tomorrow we're going to go deeper into like how the code all fits together with your year. So that's just the homework for today. Separate your plan into code and schedule your code. Thanks again for being part of this, and we'll see you tomorrow.